Kick-ass facts, super shady, and secret government operations. Pew, 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 pew! Project Sunshine was a series of research studies that began in 1953 to ascertain the impact of radioactive fallout on the world's population. The project was initially kept secret and only became known publicly in 1956. On January 18, 1955, then Atomic Energy Commissioner Dr. Willard Libby said that there was insufficient data regarding the effects of fallout due to the lack of human samples, especially samples taken from children. So what's a government to do? Steal parts of dead babies, of course. Because they needed young tissue, they recruited a worldwide network of agents to find recently deceased babies and children and then take samples and even limbs, each collected without the notification or permission of the more than 1,500 families. According to an investigation launched after a British newspaper reported that British scientists had obtained children's bodies from various hospitals and shipped their body parts to the United States, a British mother had said that her stillborn baby's legs were removed by British doctors, and to prevent her from finding out what happened, she was not allowed to dress her baby for the funeral. In 1958, research for Project Sunshine was brought to Belgium. Scientists started doing tests that were slightly different than those done previously in the United States and Europe by analyzing soils in agricultural regions instead of human bones. Operation Paperclip was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were taken from former, am I allowed to say Nazi? Schmatzi, Germany, to the U.S. for government employment after the end of World War II between 1945 and 1959. Many of these personnel were former members and some were former leaders of the aforementioned party. One of them was a chief rocket engineer of the Third Reich, and the other was the German Army's wartime chief of medical science who authorized dangerous experiments on humans. To assure security clearance in the United States, the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency created false records for the scientists, many of whom were considered wartime criminals. Several of the Paperclip scientists were later investigated because of their links to the Schmatzi Party during the war. Only one Paperclip scientist was ever tried for a crime, and no Paperclip scientist was found guilty of any crime in the United States or in Germany. Operation Mockingbird is an alleged large-scale program of the United States Central Intelligence Agency that began in the early years of the Cold War and attempted to manipulate domestic American news media organizations for propaganda purposes. The illegal activity noted in documents declassified in 2007 included wiretaps on the reporters' homes and office telephones. The CIA noted that the project was particularly productive in identifying contacts of the newsmen, including senators, members of Congress, and other well-placed individuals. Operation Chaos, or Operation MH Chaos, was a CIA domestic espionage project targeting American citizens operating from 1967 to 1974, whose mission was to uncover possible foreign influence on domestic race, anti-war, and other protest movements. The MH designation is to signify the program has a global area of operations. In 1965, President Lyndon Johnson requested that the CIA begin its own investigation into domestic dissent. The CIA developed numerous operations targeting American dissidents in the U.S. Many of these programs operated under the CIA's Office of Security, including Project Merrimack, designed to infiltrate domestic anti-war and radical organizations thought to pose a threat to security of CIA personnel and property. Project Resistance, that worked with college administrators, campus security, and local police to identify anti-war activists and political dissidents without any infiltration taking place. When Nixon came to office in 1969, existing domestic surveillance activities were consolidated into Operation Chaos. Operation Chaos first used CIA stations abroad to report on anti-war activities of American citizens traveling abroad, employing methods such as physical surveillance and electronic eavesdropping, utilizing liaison services in maintaining such surveillance. The operations were later expanded to include 60 officers. Targets of Operation Chaos within the anti-war movement included Students for a Democratic Society, the Black Panther Party, Young Lords, Women's Strike for Peace, Ramparts Magazine. Operation Chaos combined files on 7,200 Americans and a computer index totaling 300,000 civilians and approximately 1,000 groups. The secret program was exposed by investigative journalist Seymour Hersh in 1974 in an article the New York Times entitled "Huge CIA Operation Reported in U.S. Against Anti-War Forces, Other Dissidents in Nixon Years." It's a catchy title.